Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a drink, it is time for some Path of Exile discussion. Welcome to the last day of calm before the storm begins for patch 3.23 teaser season. The Affliction livestream is going to be when this video is about 20 hours old, actually a little bit sooner than that, and there's a whole bunch of new information about that that's in today's Grinding Gear Games main post. I'll put a link to that down in the description below. The most important things though are that 2.5 hours before the live stream, there's going to be an interview where POE 2 developers are going to be speaking with PC Gamer. Now that's not going to be on the Path of Exile Twitch, that's going to be on PC Gamer's Twitch. Secondly, there's a bit of information about the way that the Affliction live stream is going to be run. Firstly, there's going to be an update on Path of Exile 2. After that, the teaser trailer for the Affliction League. After that, there's going to be a deep dive into the mechanics of the Affliction League, and after that, there's going to be a Q&A with Ziggy D. This is a reasonably similar format to what we've had in the past, with two exceptions. One of these is the addition of the POE 2 update at the start, and the second thing is that the entirety of the event is actually forecast to be only a little bit over an hour. That makes me think the Q&A might be a little bit shorter than usual. Another very tiny piece of news today is that Nick, who is an employee at Grinding Gear Games, posted on his account on the website formerly known as Twitter that the current incarnation of the patch notes have 13,595 words in them, and that exactly 0 of them are Sentinel. So make of that what you will, especially with respect to yesterday's announcement and the code that was hidden in it. Maybe Sentinel was not part of the Anagram at all. Everything should make sense tomorrow. I do expect that we'll get the patch notes tomorrow, although this is definitely subject to change. It's not an official Grinding Gear Games promise that they'll be there. It's just been their recent practice. And I want to go through them in some length on a YouTube stream that will take place sometime after I finish up on Twitch. Okay, in terms of other news today, there's one new Divination card that's been revealed, Assassin's Gift. One thing a lot of people don't realise is that Divinarius was giga buffed in patch 3.20. Divinarius was buffed in patch 3.7, Legion League, but was never really a competitive item in this period, and it really got power crept out of relevance by patch 3.14 when it was transferred out of the Legion exclusive drop pool and instead became a tier 1 rarity drop anywhere unique. This was an item that dropped as rarely as Arakali's Fang, and that pretty much no one wanted to use. Its old stats were 50 to 70% increased spell damage, and way lower on the recovery stats, and somewhat lower on the crit stats. Divinarius got giga buffed in 3.20, but was also made much rarer. This item is in the same rarity tier as Calandra's Touch, Headhunter, and Mageblood. In short, the vast majority of even quite enfranchised players will not see a Divinarius drop for themselves. That said, if you play in Trade League, it is somewhat accessible. To give you a sense of the secondary market value of this item, Divinarius was around 1,000 chaos for a poorly rolled one during the first couple of weeks of patch 3.22. Well-rolled ones do sell for quite a bit more. Divinarius is quite sensitive to especially 2 of the rolls on it, which is a percentage increase in spell damage and the critical strike multiplier roll. When should you use Divinarius? Well, firstly, if you can get it before you get a really good crafted rare, which is going to be unusual, but if you are in that situation, you definitely use it on pretty much any spellcaster build. But if you have a bit of a knowledge of Harvest and a 12 Divine or so budget, you can generally outdo Divinarius. The real exception though, is if you're playing a build that is critical strike based, so that you can benefit from all the important stats on the item, and that also your character can reach the soft cap of gem level 30 on your main skill without the weapon slot occupied. Taking Arc as one example here, you see there is an exponential increase in skill damage from gem level 20 up to 30. It then continues to be exponential from 30 to 40, but with a much slower rate of increase. As a result, there is somewhat of a soft cap on gem level as a useful stat for your character. If you can reach 30 without the weapon slot, then Divinarius starts to become really compelling. It's also worth noting that Divinarius is going to perform worse if your character is using 12 passive cluster jewels, and that's because the increased spell damage you're getting here is only going to scale additively with stats like increased lightning damage that you might have on cluster jewels. But especially if you're in a situation where you're using Skin of the Lords and also using Empower or Awakened Empower, you might find that Divinarius is even best in slot on your character. And if it's not best in slot, it's going to be competitive with anything short of a Mirror Tier caster stick. Okay, so how rare is Assassin's Gift going to be? The answer is very. Grinding Gear Games don't care that Divinarius is valued by players at about 1,000 chaos, whereas something like Mageblood or Headhunter is valued by players at many dozens of times that value. Instead, what Grinding Gear Games care about is that Headhunter, Mageblood, and Divinarius all have the same drop rate. As a result, I expect that Assassin's Gift will be comparable in rarity to the Price of Devotion and also to the Demon, 2 of the rarest Divination cards in the game. The main reason though that I think this will have more of an impact on trade leagues than people are thinking is there's a couple of Searing Exarch altars that are already pretty good. 1.6 to 3.2% chance to drop an additional Divination card which awards a corrupted unique item or a corrupted item. These are not top tier altar mods, but they're among the better of the filler ones. And that's because they already have a chance to give you a Fiend card, an Insane Cat card, a Price of Devotion card, or a Demon card. Now, there's something else that's being added into that pool, Assassin's Gift. It's going to be really rare to see Assassin's Gift come up from these altars, but across the Trade League, it is going to happen to a lot of players. And I honestly think that this and stacked decks will be the main source of Assassin's Gift. I think its intended drop location is likely to be a very obscure place, and also the card is going to be very rare there. Anyways, that is all of the news for patch 3.23 today. I will see you tomorrow for the main live stream announcement. May your Varlorbs have interesting results, and may your Assassins bear interesting gifts.